troops unless you're going to eliminate every physical person who's an American in Iraq. Tell the truth for a change.
Another question on Iraq.
Thank you for taking my question. The 2006 election gave the Democrats in office a mandate to end the U.S. occupation of Iraq. Since that time, 800 of our military service members have died there. As the mother of an American soldier deploying to Iraq for a second time, I would like to know if the perception is true that the Democrats are putting politics before conscience. How many more soldiers must die while these political games continue in our government? Is the reason that we are still in Iraq and seemingly will be for some time due to the Democrats' fear that blame for the loss of the war will be placed on them by the Republican spin machine?
Senator Clinton.
Well, I want to thank her and her son for their service and their sacrifice. When we send a soldier or a Marine to combat in Iraq, we really are sending a family. And since the election of 2006, the Democrats have tried repeatedly to win Republican support for the simple proposition that we need to set a timeline to begin bringing our troops home now. I happen to agree that there is no military solution, and the Iraqis refuse to pursue the political solutions. In fact, I asked the Pentagon a simple question: have you prepared for withdrawing our troops? In response, I got a letter accusing me of being unpatriotic, that I shouldn't be asking questions. Well, one of the problems is that there are a lot of questions that we're asking, but we're not getting answers from the Bush administration. And it's time for the Republicans to join us in standing up to the President to bring our troops home.
Congressman Kucinich, the Democrats have been in power for 7 months. Nothing has changed in Iraq.
To answer the question, I'm going to answer the mother of that troop question. The answer to your question, ma'am, is yes. It is politics. The Democrats have failed the American people. When we took over in January, the American people didn't expect us to give them a democratic version of the war. They expected us to act quickly to end the war. And here's how we can do it. It doesn't take legislation. That's a phony excuse to say that you don't have the votes. We appropriated $97 billion a month ago. We should tell President Bush no more funds for the war. Use that money to bring the troops home. Use it to bring the troops home. And Anderson, right now, if people want to send that message to Congress, they can text peace 73223.
We're going to see your campaign commercial. Senator Dodd, you're in the Congress. What about it? You've been in power 7 months now. Nothing's changed.
First of all, there are differences here. The first responsibility of the Commander-in-Chief is to keep our nation safe and secure. It has been said in the very beginning here, there is no military solution to this civil war in Iraq. I think it's incumbent upon the Congress. There is a sense of disappointment. We should set that time certain. I don't normally advocate that here, but I know of no other way we're going to convince the political and religious leaders in Iraq to take seriously their responsibility to decide to form a nation state or not. I think by saying with clarity here that we are withdrawing and redeploying our forces out of there, robustly pursuing diplomacy, which we have not done at all here. This administration treats statecraft and diplomacy as if it were a gift to your opponents here. We need to have a program here that allows us to become much more engaged in the region. The answer on Darfur isn't just we do.
Let's not go to Darfur.
Well, no, because Iraq is related to Darfur, Anderson, here. It's because we're bogged down there at $10 billion a month. We've lost our moral leadership in the world. No one listens to us when it comes to foreign policy. That has to change in this country.
The question, though, is, are the Democrats playing politics?
There's a big difference on Iraq between me and the senators, and here's where it is. The lives of our young troops are more important than George Bush's legacy. This is where I stand. I believe we should bring all the troops home by the end of this year, in 6 months, with no residual forces. No residual forces. This is critically important. 100 American troops are dying every month. And this war is a quagmire, it's endless, and the time has come to bring the troops home. No politics, get it done.
The next question is for Senator Gravel.
My name is John, I'm from West Virginia. My question is for Mike Gravel. In one of the previous debates, you said something along the lines of the entire deaths of Vietnam died in vain. How do you expect to win in a country where probably a pretty large chunk of the people voting disagree with that statement and might very well be offended by it? I'd like to know if you plan to defend that statement or if you're just going to flip-flop. Thanks.
John, why would you think I would flip-flop? I've never flip-flopped before, and I like to question. I don't get very many of them. But I'll just tell you, thank you. Has it been fair thus far? I'll tell you, John, it's a set-up question. Our soldiers died in Vietnam in vain. You can now, John, go to Hanoi and get a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cone. That's what you can do. And now we have most favored nation trade. What did all these people die for? What are they dying for right now in Iraq every single day? Let me tell you, there's only one thing worse than a soldier dying in vain. It's more soldiers dying in vain.
Senator Obama, are the soldiers dying in Iraq in vain?
Our soldiers have done everything that's been asked of them. They deposed Saddam Hussein. They have carried out extraordinarily difficult missions with great courage and great bravery. But one thing I have to say about Senator Clinton's comments a couple moments ago. I think it's terrific that she's asking for plans from the Pentagon. And I think the Pentagon response was ridiculous. But what I also know is that the